mean, I don't know what else to tell you but to tell you the truth. So I'm just going to tell you the truth. But first, there is a little young man that has brain cancer that has the cutest video going around YouTube. I believe it's under Tyler Davis. You can look at Tyler Davis singing Up Church, brain cancer. You can go and watch it. If you're having a bad day and you need some perspective in your life, go watch that video and you'll get some perspective in your life. And send the boy some love and light up that video and let him know we're all thinking about him. Groupthink and sending good intentions is a powerful, powerful thing. And now to get into what I just saw. Bullies. Bullies. It's cold in Tennessee and I'm wearing a bog and deal with it. Bullies do exist. It doesn't matter what name you give to those, those selection of individuals that constantly, look at other people to find weaknesses so that they can maximize their predatory behavior. Those people exist. It doesn't matter what name you give them. So you can try to erase a word from being, but that population is still going to exist. And what you need to understand about bullies, and I'm going to use this word because it's how everybody else identifies them. I could say predators, but it's the same thing. What you need to understand about bullies is bullies are something that if you stop before it gets started too bad, then it's more controllable. But if you let it go on, and you start to see this pattern and they get used to having this pattern of behavior where whatever need that they need in their head is being manifested in this tit for tat that's going on between the bully and whoever they're bullying, the more positive interaction, the more kickback, emotional feedback, support from people in the crowd, or sometimes even negative feedback, it all feeds them emotionally because what they need is attention. That's what they need. Now, I agree. Sometimes when people bully, sometimes you got to say, hey, I'm going to be nice until I can't be nice anymore, and then I'm going to have to take care of the problem. But to be the best parent I could be, I had to try to sit my children down at a young age and say, hey, listen, there are these types of people in the world. They're going to want to create these types of situations to where you will respond in these types of ways. And that will put you in this category that will create these feelings and generate this chemical release within your brain. And it will make it harder for you to climb back up the ladder they just pushed you down from. So when you identify these people, you turn around and you let them know, I have identified you. I know what the crap you are. I ain't gonna play with you. I don't want to play this game. So normally, this is what I told my children. When you see someone who is consistently trying to create that environment to where you are knocked off the totem pole, lowered, belittled, made fun of, or made to be scared, you turn around and you watch that person. You watch that person for days, weeks, months. You watch their behavior because eventually they will tell on themselves. And what they're going to tell is that this is the only behavior they know because it's the only way in their sad little world that they have found to get the emotional response that they need. And, sometimes any emotional response is okay, negative or not, because they are so empty within. So you start to identify their pattern of behavior. You start to look at the indiscretions that they try to hide, the people that they try to pick on, the people that they try to avoid, and how they use, this one-note song to terrorize people. And then when they come back to you, you go, hey, I realize that for some reason you profile me as a victim. I'm not a victim. I am not a victim because I have noticed that you seek out certain people that you think are going to respond in a certain way. I promise you today, I will not respond in that way. Should you choose to pursue this altercation, it will not end in the way that you were hopeful. Now, I noticed that you did X, Y, and Z to this individual, ABC to that individual, and blah, blah, blah to that individual, and you got some pretty good street cred and recognition and tough boy status, and you got a lot of serotonin and dopamine going through your brain. If you need constant affirmation, I'm not your boy. Because whatever you want me to do, rather beat you up, lay here and cry, get into fisticuffs so that your friends then pout with you, or they carry you on their shoulders and say you're the victor. I'm not going to feed into that. So let's just pretend it all happened and you got what you needed and you go on your merry way, because I don't have time to play Days of Our Lives while I'm trying to actually have a life. When you start this straight talk with these bullies, they kind of go, what? And they'll kind of puff up and they'll get a little bit more angry and go, look, I know that your needs are not being met elsewhere. You're probably not getting a lot of attention in the real world. If you need a friend, if you need somebody to talk to, I'm more than willing to do that. But I'm not willing to be your punching bag. I'm not willing to be your target. I'm not willing to be what you exchange on this social strata that we're on, you know, for some serotonin and goosebumps. So what do you need? Did your mama not hug you enough? Did your daddy not love you enough? Do you not get any recognition at home? Do you make bad grades? Do you feel so bad about yourself that this is the only outlet in which you feel good about yourself? Because if that's it, well, there are hundreds of different ways in we can fix this. Because that little chemical boost you're looking for is basically an addiction, and it's going to last for all of 2.5 seconds. And then you're going to have to do this again. And my God, how many people are in this town? If you do the math, you've only got 3.5 years of good vibes. So unless you're going to learn how to outsource, you're going to have to learn how to deal with this if you're going to live here. Let's talk about it. They're going to become so upset that you figured out, even if it's just a small component of something that they fear or they thought that they fear, or that they think at night when they don't share their feelings with somebody else, they're going to realize that you see them as somebody that is damaged and that is seeking some kind of chemical reaction to make them feel better. You know, in the animal world, our brains control everything, and we humans want to say we're not animals. We are animals. We're just a little bit farther down the line than most animals. You know, we got an upgrade or two that the other four-legged creatures didn't get, bless their hearts. But it doesn't mean we don't respond still like animals. Biology is a very, very harsh mother. So, you know, when you get into these altercations, if you win the altercation, you get that serotonin boost and you feel like the man. Nobody can touch you. And then people respond to you in that manner because that's the energy you're putting off. If you lose that altercation, you get a lowered, it kind of sucks the serotonin out of your brain. And you feel low and you feel helpless and you feel needy and like that need's never going to be met and you feel worthless. And the more it happens to go down, the worse you feel about yourself. The more it happens and you go up, the better you feel about yourself. Do we understand now why people get into these situations to where they identify solely as one or the other and they have very little self-esteem or they have way too much self-worth? Yeah, it's a pattern of behavior and it's hard to break that pattern. So to break that pattern, you got to talk to your kids. You've got to tell them, hey, yeah, you know, having fisticuffs might stop the initial issue, but it's not going to repair what's going on. You're going to get in more trouble and have issues with this, that, and the other, rather than just looking at them and going, you know, you can beat me up, you can pummel me, you can have an altercation, but it's not going to fix what you're actually seeking. And if you would really rather have somebody in your corner, then, dude, let's patch this up, get to know each other, and see what we can offer each other on a friendship level, because I am not a target. And if you think I am a target, then your radar is going bad, or you're running out of the people that are willing targets, and now you're getting into the people that don't really want to be targets, and you're going to hit a huge speed bump in this scheme you're running, because not everybody will respond the way they responded before. Teenagers, bless their hearts, don't have all these skills. They don't understand the mentality behind it. They don't understand that normally the one thing a bully wants is not recognition, power. They want compassion. But they've never gotten it. And because they've never gotten it, their brains and their minds and their persona goes to this dark level where they justify that if I don't get compassion, nobody else should. And so that's how they roll. Guess what will break a bully? Compassion and logic thought. Now, it may not break it the first day. You may still have to establish a pattern of behavior and really keep your nose to the stone and work at it. I would much rather my child come home from school today and say he got in trouble for having a dialogue in the hallway that made him late for school, that took him to the principal's office, that made him and the principal and the bully start to acknowledge a pattern of behavior that was being seen all over school and harming multiple kids, and that, hey, Mom, I wasn't going to stand for it, and we sat there and we talked about it, but I missed fourth period, and you've got to take me tomorrow and make up a test. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that because you used your brain and your words and your knowledge and your actual compassion for another human being to solve an issue before you attacked. Now, is there some times that you have to attack? Absolutely. There are some predators that are going to push it to a physical altercation. That is just how some predators think. But if you go in there thinking that the only prey response you have is to also become physical, you've chosen to not even use the muscle that can do the most good, which is your tongue and your brain. Now, I'm a big gal. I got bullied a lot because people thought I was different, and because kids are so simple-minded, they like to pick out the people that are different. But I was smart enough to know that they only did that because they wanted to set the radar as to they are not different, I am different, because they could not have dealt with being different. They had to set up the board in their favor because they were limited in their ability to deal with what I could deal with daily. And so I thought about these people and thought, oh my gosh, I may have a physical flaw, but you have an emotional flaw. You don't love yourself. I would rather help you patch up that flaw and learn to love yourself, as opposed to make you sink even lower in your self-loathing and hatred of yourself and others. So let's take a high step here and say, hey, you know something? I'm going to try to help you. I'm going to try to break the loop. Can it always be done? No. Do your kids sometimes just absolutely need to protect themselves? Yes. If your kid is violently attacked, should they defend themselves? Absolutely. But you shouldn't go into the world with the mindset that, you know, you say something nasty to me, I'm going to turn around and say 50 times they're just nasty because I'm bigger, man, you just didn't know it. I mean, literally, that it's just another poof flinging day in the jungle, because apparently we're still primates and we can't learn to verbalize words that can make other people think. And words are powerful things. Body language is a powerful thing. I dealt with murderers for a decade. You want to talk about animosity? Let's talk about murderers that have been in custody for decades and then get out and have to learn how to function in a society that has already labeled them as useless, not necessary, and not even wanted in the population. Biggest tool that I had in my toolbox: compassion, understanding, trying to look into their mind to understand why their reactions were that way, so that I could then proceed to possibly interrupt those patterns and create different environments where they had different responses that gave them hope, so that they would then latch onto that hope and slowly change their demeanor and their actions. It works. It's all about training. It's all about self-control and training. It can be done. So yeah, there are bullies. I don't care what word that you call them or don't want to call them. There are people that are predators. They are predators because they fear that without that predatory title, they will become prey themselves. They have things within themselves that they are scared of, that they can't control, and so they push their control outward. And they get that emotional kickback and that emotional feed and that emotional paycheck from harming others. And when we understand that the true damage is within them, then we can have a little bit of compassion and we can, talk through it and say, hey, you know something? I'm not going to stereotype you. I'm not going to fall into the game you're playing. I'm going to say, you know, you're worth more than this. I know I'm worth more than this. I'm not going to play this game. And I'm not going to cater to this little, you know, fake life you're trying to set up here with these fake emotions, these fake responses, and these fake people.